Okay, this is our team from Micromark, and we're going to look at the Flux product, the BMO. We've got John James and our master maker Donald here. Donald runs our laser cutting machines in the back, does all the designs for the kits that we make, and basically runs our whole manufacturing operation here at Micromark. We used to sell literally thousands of these BMOs over the last few years. Man, we understand that from Flux that they've made some big improvements, and we're excited to see what those improvements look like. So we're going to do an unboxing here and look at what has improved with the BMO machine. Donald, you got the honors.
All right, here we go.
We'll do a Saturday Night Live with the lady that cuts her finger.
Yeah. All right.
What do you see?
From first sight, it looks securely packed.
Has the packaging changed?
These cardboard inserts on the inside, these are new. They were on the outside of the pallets, but not the inside of the box.
Gives it some more frame.
Yes. And it looks like all corners are covered by those. You have your styrofoam. These look to be the same. Alright. As the user manual, it's a lot thicker than it was before. It's like it has a book for a warranty and a quick guide.
People like that quick guide because they want to just get up and running right when they get it.
So the quick guide looks like how to plug it in, how to connect the duct hoses in several different languages.
Okay.
Warranty, several different languages. This is definitely about 3 times thicker than the last one. Looks like there's some maintenance checklists and charts, which are an addition. Different recommendations for different software. Customer service contact information.
This in color. It wasn't in color before.
I don't think so. I don't recall if there was any color. There may have been in some of the pictures. I think there might have been. But this definitely looks like there's larger pictures and more detailed maintenance instructions.
There's also a QR code right here that you can scan. I guess it says to get started. So there must be some instructions online that you can go to right away.
Yes, that'll bring you directly to the website. That was in some of the later models of our BMO, but not in the initial ones. Alright, I'm gonna lift this up. If you guys could get rid of the box for me.
Sure. We'll pull it towards me.
It's very manageable for one person to handle. A lot of laser cutters, you definitely need 2, but this one's definitely one that you can handle by yourself. Well, looks like the door looks like it's attached a lot better than the other one. There used to be a problem with the plexiglass breaking where it was connected, so a lot of the tops didn't make the trip over the water. So that's better. So here's the duct hose. Seems similar to equal quality. Little Flux logo on it. Okay, let's look in the toolkit.
Is this similar to the toolkit?
It looks to be the same. They're giving you an Ethernet cord, which they didn't give you before. You have your funnel, which was there. You have your dongle, which was on the last one. Your hose clamp. Sticky tape for your hose. Sample piece of wood. It looks like a little BMO token or a POG of some sort. Just to show you what it can do in front. You have your oil. It's very important to keep your rods lubricated. We have your Allen keys for maintenance and your wrench. Alright. So we're going to open up the back of this thing. Let's see how it goes. I used to have to take off the front panel to take off the back panel. So this panel used to connect to this and to this. So when you had to take the rear off, you had to take the front off, and which came with the back. So this is separate. So this is going to be easier to do maintenance without taking a lot of it apart. A little bucket or a little tin. Now, when I looked to the front of the machine, I saw that the water pump had coolant in it. It had a slightly blue color. That's to cool the laser tube. That'll also prevent it from freezing through shipment. And one thing that I found this being very difficult to do is add the water to the water pump. I found that it evaporated a lot, and I had to do it quite often.
The coolant should be a little bit easier.
Well, this being that I can remove the hood in 6 screws instead of 12,
Okay, that's a lot
it's
easier.
definitely... Alright, so it looks like it's still challenging to get there. But you can still get there. Alright, so here's our laser tube. Attachments look very similar. This is a flow meter. This adjusts the flow of the liquid to go into the laser tube. We have an exhaust fan. Here's your water pump here. So to change the water, it's a little bit easier access to it than it was before. I think it might be elevated a little bit.
Oh, that's the reservoir down there?
Yeah. There's a reservoir and a water pump. This is actually pumping the water. This is
Regulated
Well, it's more like reading it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's reading it, so you know, because you have to have so many liters per minute pumping through your laser tube, or you're not going to be able to optimize the cut
Right.
as best as you can.
It'll get too hot if there's not
'Cause a
enough
lot of
motion.
this is, and you'll find in your adjustments on the software and here, so you'll have to tune your laser. It's not going to be exactly the same every time. There's a lot of variables. You know, like in the summertime, I actually have to run it differently than I do in the wintertime.
Right.
Because it gets hotter and overheats. I got to run a faster flow through the laser tube.
Kind of similar to like a car.
Similar to a car, yes. Alright, so we have our mirrors here. This is the mirror number 1. This is mirror number 2. And this is mirror number 3. When you do your mirror adjustments, you start with the back one. Now the best way to do it is take a piece of post-it note and rip it into a small square and put it on the mirror. Now you don't want the sticky stuff to get actually on the mirror, so you want it to actually touch the frame of the mirror, this metal part around it. And then when you give it the pulse of the laser, it should burn a hole dead center. If it's not dead center, you have to tweak these guys. Now this, when you tweak, you very little tweaks, because when you go too far, it's hard to get back. These ones are a little easier, but this one's the master. This was what you need, definitely centered. This one can bounce off a little to the side here and there, but not by much. And then you would do the same thing on step 2 to align your mirror. You would put a post-it note on that one after you got this one centered. So when then it bounces off this one, it's centered in here. And then finally, you adjust that one.
So you're not doing each one at the same time, you're doing one at a time.
Yeah.
From the furthest, you're starting
Yeah.
with the one closest to the tube, then moving on.
Yep.
Cool.
So yeah, I would never adjust this before this.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you would
Otherwise
always
you'd be sitting there
want
all
your
day.
source to be your first.
You see any changes in the way these mirrors are set up?
Well, you know what? They were copper or brass pieces in the last ones, which tend to be soft. I don't think it was. I don't know if it was brass, or I don't know. It might have been an alloy, but it definitely was softer and golden colored. Just the box feels a little bit more sturdy. Maybe they use a little thicker steel. Not sure, but
Yeah, it's
definitely.
I was noticing there's more padding. Is that more padding, or is that just something I haven't seen
Well,
before?
this padding used to be wrapped around here when you originally had your one-piece
Right.
hood. This looks like it's probably just making sure that when the lid is on, if there's any vibration, that it's not.
More focused on protecting the tube instead of just like
Yeah, I think it's
uselessly
protecting the
around the
tube.
rest of the machine.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All right, let's get under here.
These are all the same, right?
Yeah, they're all the same. Now on the larger models, there's just a door actually that opens up, so the larger model is a little easier to get access to the motherboard.
Yeah.
With this in here, I found a lot of the problems from the previous VMOs is I had some touchscreen issues. So I found myself replacing a lot of touchscreens,
Hopefully they
or
open.
advising or sending touchscreens out to be replaced. Now, if you're familiar with computers, it's going to be very easy to understand in there. Everything pretty much just goes in the motherboard. The pumps, the fans. That's where it gets all its power. Yeah, we're gonna. And you basically just follow the trail of the wire to unplug it.
Cool.
You know, just connect it the way it was when you disconnected it. Alright. Alright, here's your power source. Which looks the same, but I don't see any of the writing on it. Underneath, it looks like there's some separation between an exhaust fan and the power source, which I think was a lot less before. Like it was sitting on top of it instead of having a gap between it. Yeah, I got 2 fans.
And that's the power supply for the laser itself?
Yep.
Tube?
That's the power supply for everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So the power supply for your board and your Pi, your air pump. Like you see, your air pump is going in here. Looks like your motherboard is getting powered here. I'm not sure with that one. Color wires. Oh, okay. This is the lead to go in to the power supply from the wall. The power to your tube is right here. Your power to your flow meter. Looks like it has a casing on it, which is connecting down there. The German color flag, yellow, orange, black. Yellow, oh that's blue, orange, yellow, black. The top one here, so that's your flow meter power. And pump.
They're all pin connectors up there? And
Yeah, they're all
bracket there?
pins.
That's nice.
Other than that, looks pretty much the same.
Hopefully when you fire
We
it
can
up.
turn it on,
Yeah, why don't we set up to do that?
or we can turn it on here without firing it here too,
Okay.
so we can kind of go through the.
Let me see if I can get you a power cord. Long extension cord.
It's funny the stuff you don't think you know until you see it. And you're like, oh yeah.
I don't know if that's long enough, John.
And the average person would be
Right.
turning this on,
Yep.
but we're basically kind of just looking through it,
Yep.
seeing how it responds.
They have lights inside before?
So that's the fan. That's that hum that you feel. Yeah, there's light inside. All right, we got boot up here. Usually takes about a minute or less.
So this thing comes pretty much ready to plug in and start doing, other than the calibration.
Yeah. I would recommend that the software be connected with it via Wi-Fi, so you can explore a lot of the things that you can do that you can't do just on the touch screen. A lot of adjustments. You can control camera settings. You know, all your power and the speed of your robotics. So yeah, I mean, you gotta definitely evacuate the exhaust and do some button pushing on the software. I mean, you couldn't directly just start cutting now. You would need some things to cut.
What devices can you control it from? Just like a computer? Or
Yeah, the computer. There's the software that covers 3 of their machines. Basically, has a drop-down tab. You choose which model you have. Between the dongle, you try to talk to it. It recognizes it, as you'll see when we're on here, that you can actually assign it a name. And then that way it's easier to identify instead of having some stupid XYZ dash is that my code, you know. Alright, so up here you have your temperature, your 23 Celsius. You can change that in the options to Fahrenheit. Now you don't want to be running your laser past 90 degrees. Or I would stop running your laser if I got past 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, this is a new interface. Seems a little smoother on the touch. I'm going to choose English because that is my primary language. Looks like it has some warnings, some fire hazard warnings. Do not stare at the flame generated by the laser. I can vouch for that.
That's some pretty good advice.
Do not operate a machine unattended. Do not try to service, repair, or modify the machine without authorization from Flux Support. Be sure to have a properly maintained fire extinguisher near the machine at all time. Please make sure that the processed material does not pose a hazard when burned at a high temperature. A lot of density boards and a lot of vinyl and some plywood has like glue in the wood, so when you burn it you're actually creating a toxic environment. Even though it does evacuate out of the exhaust pipe, it still can
Backflow.
backdraft
Yeah.
kind of, and it's not good. Please make sure that periodically remove the cutting grid and clean debris from the work area. Alright, so that's this. So after several cuts, this will turn dark and black and gummy. The more often that you clean it, the better. It's hard to say the best way to clean it because it will be time consuming to get in between all of these little ones. But if you could soak it in some kind of alcohol and do some kind of high pressure wash, that'd probably be the quickest way to do it.
If you have a new compressor for the airflow line, would that work too?
Yeah, but the air's not getting it off. It's really not. You gotta have some kind of abrasive or a liquid or something like that to soften it up, because it's really like, even with green Scotch-Brite pads, I mean, it'll destroy them before it cleans this properly. So
Let it soak like in alcohol or some kind of.
yeah,
maybe
I would
soap.
soak it in alcohol. And if you are gonna do some like quick cleaning, some Windex, again, pull it out of the machine and take it away from anything electrical before you spray it.
Some kind of wire brush would probably work too.
A wire brush would work too, but you also have to remember that this thing you want to keep as flat as possible. When this thing heats up, a lot of the metal kind of changes and more so it can bend.
Just like a radiator for a car.
Exactly. So, cleaning that, because once it gets gummed up, you're not going to be wanting to put any wood on that, because you're going to be adding sticky stuff to the bottom of your wood or acrylic or whatever you're cutting.
Yeah, that also could end up more.
Alright, so I am going to agree. Alright, we have a startup test. Before starting, please follow the steps below to complete the machine test. We have homing test. Ensure the working area is free from foreign objects, then pressing the home button. Alright, so yeah. The homing thing. Sometimes when the laser head doesn't home, it's because of a switch. So this little piece of metal here hits this switch here. Now if this switch is blocked or can't be touched, sometimes the switch before, it would just be slightly bent, and then when this came back, it didn't hit it. When you were first under the hood of that one a couple weeks ago, and I heard the dun 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 dun, and the laser head wasn't finding its home,
It was for that same
it was for that same reason. So sometimes when you can't find your home, or it feels like you can't, it feels like it's juddering and it's not being able to go to its starting point, it's because it's not connecting to the home switch. Alright, so that's a good home. That means it went to the corner, it found 0 by 0, and was satisfied with it. Now, if it went back home and it didn't find itself at 0 by 0, it would say, you got something wrong.
We'll be able to see again if we put it like over here and watch it go back home.
Yeah, we got to get through this first, though. But we'll get to a maintenance screen where I could show that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright. Optical path test. Please complete the optical path test according to the following steps. Reflecting mirror may be misaligned during transportation due to collision. The misalignment of the mirror will cause incomplete reflection of the laser light. Please ensure completing the optical path test before using the machine. It's a little bit of what I discussed before. Now, it won't run without the door open. I mean, with the door open. Open the machine door. Oh, wait. Yeah. Take out the double-sided tape from the accessory kit. Stick it on the laser head. You know, we're going to bypass this.
I was doing that thing with the post-it note you were talking about.
Yeah, that's... I go through this whole process, it looks like.
Open.
The door cover is open, but the button isn't enabled. I'm not sure what that means. Oh.
Do we want to get this set up in a spot where we've got ventilation and start playing with it next?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, let's do that.
Hold on a
Yeah.
second. I don't want to unplug it before I get through the first
Yep.
process, though.
Yep.
But I want to get through this, but I'm thinking that...
Okay.
I see the pump starting to work too. Liquid started to move up here.
Okay. Optical path test. Let's just see if a mark exists. I don't know what's going on here. Open the door, cover and remove the double-sided tape. Center of the light outlet. I'll just say it exists. Alright, now we're up to choose the Wi-Fi network. But, connect to internet later. Congratulations. So I guess it looks like a Mai Tai on the Tom Collins or something.
I guess they added a lot more of inner.
Yeah, the touchscreen's definitely better. Alright, so maintain. This is the screen I was just on was the screen you see when you wake it up every day. The startup process had that preliminary steps that you don't have to do every day. Alright, so we'll go back here. That's what you'll see after you turn on your machine. Alright, so let's start with start. This is the built-in memory. Recent. So it has some recent cuts they probably used to test the machine. Again, saved here on your chip. Yep, looks like this POG here
Was it a test piece that they made?
was the test piece that they made. Looks like they cut. This is a plexiglass tab. Now this tab they put here. You can see right here,
Oh yeah.
and it bends down. And now you can use this. And you have to use this as your...
Oh, it's a clip, isn't it?
Oh, it turns it all goes this way. That's right. So this you bring down here. And this is how you measure the distance of your wood. Let me come around the side. Alright, so this thing's pretty far away, actually. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to loosen this and then bring this down to the height of your wood or your material that you're using. This looks like I'm reaching pretty far. Then tighten it up. Bring it back up now. If you ever broke this, which I have, you got it saved. You just make a new one.
That's nice.
And then to install it, you have to pull that tube, wrap around the tube, and then put it back on.
And listening to that knurled collet raised and lowered the height of the laser. Is that what you just did?
Yeah, basically I'm focusing it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there's no autofocus on this.
Okay. That's the purpose of the tab.
Yeah, that's the purpose of the tab.
That's not bad. Less the brake.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back here. See what else they got. Grading. So it looks like they tested the machine. Now let's look at this. Its name is Joaquin.
Nice.
Nice to meet you.
Alright, so this is Joaquin. You can change it. I'm gonna name him Bob. Bob. Alright, so that's Bob. Bob has a serial number FLY722SUTZ. There's a CPU serial, firmware version 3.5.1. Ventilator rotation is 100%, and no hours on the laser tube.
Cool.
Alright, so these are all. Alright, hardware settings. This is how you test your flow speed. So when you want to. So you can see it going now. Now this thing's working now.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's flowing at 2.36 liters a minute. Now you're going to want to be over 2 liters a minute.
No.
You are going to want to be.
Oh, you are going to
yeah,
want to.
you're going to want to be over 2 liters a minute. Alright, then you have your temperature. See, we're going to switch this to Fahrenheit. That's how we do here in the Western Hemisphere.
So you can change it. That's cool.
Yeah. Reset main board. So you don't want to do any resets. This is how you would update the firmware, but you got to be online. Alright, so we'll go to maintain. Always homes, and you go to maintain. So it's hitting there, buttons, all the buttons are getting hit. So now we're going to test the air pump. So that's this thing working now. Don't touch that, you get electrocuted. I've done it before. So that, now put your finger underneath this.
Oh yeah, air pump. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is that laser is basically traveling through the center of that
airflow. Yeah.
That airflow, and it basically just keeps it tight.
Cool.
Keeps it from
dispersing.
Yeah, almost like expanding.
Right.
You know, it keeps it from expanding. Alright, so the air pump works. Now we're gonna go to the water pump. Now sometimes after you run the pump for the first time, you'll get a reduction in the water line. You might want to top it off before you start.
Because it's pushing out all the excess water.
Yeah, and you know what? The coolant isn't necessary. I mean, you can use just water. I would use distilled water, of course. So if you don't want to come up with your own mixture, even though you can come up with your own mixture, that's fine.
And you'd want to use distilled water because with regular water it would have minerals and stuff in it.
Yeah, and then it might create like fungus.
Yeah,
or
calcification and stuff.
Algae kind of like in a fish tank.
Right, okay, yeah, that's why you want to use collecting water.
Alright, so it looks like our pump works. Now, with the flow meter, and it said 2.36 liters a minute. Now, if the pump wasn't working, and the flow meter was working, it would say that. It would say 0.
Oh, so it tells you.
It's either one or the other. Because sometimes if it says 0, it could be the pump,
Okay.
or it could be the flow meter.
Right. So it tells you too, like when something isn't working, it'll give you some kind of warning. Or
No, not
Not-
really.
not
At
all
least
the
I don't
time?
know, maybe.
No check engine lights on the laser cutter.
Well, they do, but you gotta figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, the check engine light's basically like, oh, I started fire.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Or, oh, I can't cut through my wood.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, stuff like that.
It's
Okay.
less of a visual indicator in the system and more of a visual indicator in what you're cutting.
Yeah, because once that laser is out, there's no way for a computer to read.
Right.
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Okay, so
That-
it can't say that. Oh, there's no electricity going here, so send an error, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
they do have error messages. The camera used to shoot me a lot of error messages.
Okay.
Now the camera is very interesting. Now that I never really got to find that useful in the older versions because it didn't work. It always was buggy and it took too much time.
It doesn't look like they have that in this one. Right.
Well, this should have a camera. I'm gonna have to do it through the software though.
Take a look and see if it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the
Oh,
camera
that cam.
LED.
There you
So that's for the camera.
go. I see it. Okay.
And the working LED. Oh, there's the ventilator.
That's pretty good.
I kind of wish that it ventilated this powerful the whole time, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it needs its own cool down at some point.
Now up here on the touchscreen, you'll see a few things.
Yeah, I was just noticing the temperature.
That little zigzag, that means no water's pumping right now. But if I started to pump, see how it went off?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes you can identify if the pump's not working is if there's a cross through the water.
Okay.
That way you don't have to take off the hood.
Yeah, constantly. Yeah, all like
Yeah.
12 screws or 6
So
screws.
if
or
it,
whatever.
like if I had the pump on now and it wasn't pushing water, it would have a line through it.
Okay. Cool.
Alright. Let's get this laser pulse. Let's see if it does it. Yep. There's
Yeah,
the
I see what
laser.
you're talking about.
Now, if you stuck your finger there,
That
you
would
would burn a hole through your finger.
Yeah.
Now, if we like did this for fun,
All right, there you go.
yeah,
At least we know it works.
yeah.
I'm about to stick my fingers in that.
Yep.